चल हो जा शुरू।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the latest news of the day. First, it was Kathua. Then, it was Reasi. After that, it was Doda. And then anti-terror operations in which a CRPF Jawan lost his life in the line of duty. In the past 72 hours, we have lost more than 12 brave hearts. 9 of them civilians, and out of those civilians, 1 child, 2 years of age. And this bloodshed does not look like it's stopping, because when I was serving in the army, the areas that were considered hot were Surankot, were Doda and Kishtwar, of course, the entire Punch and Rajouri axis, Krishna Ghati, Bimbar Gali, Mender, Akhnur. These were the infiltration routes of the terrorists coming from across, from Pakistan. They remain the infiltration routes even today. So what the terrorists will do is use dense foliage and the topography to infiltrate from Pakistan, cross the line of control through gaps in the fence, or cutting the fence, or blowing up the fence, or waiting for natural phenomena which will ensure that the fence breaks or is washed away. And then they enter India, use the dense foliage as I said, and then slowly stay in the forest and make their way into Kashmir Valley for operations. This is what they've been doing for a very long time now. During my time, the hot areas were not in Kashmir. Kashmir was relatively quiet. It was Surankot that was burning. And even after I left the army, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've heard of Operation Sarp Vinash. It was a very successful operation carried out by the Indian Army in and around the area of Surankot. Of course, there were other areas also, but primarily Surankot. That is where Sarp Vinash was carried out. And they wiped out entire cadres of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Entire cadres were wiped out in that Indian Army operation. Is it time for Operation Sarp Vinash Part 2? And is it time to hit Pakistan across the border? Today I'm going to discuss this with you. Now, Operation Sarp Vinash Part 2 would entail a massive influx of army troops. And where are those troops going to come from? So primarily, we are lacking in 2 areas. I'm painting the entire strategic or the operational scenario for you so that you understand. Uniform force has pretty much moved out to the line of actual control. And a lot of troops that were earlier facing Pakistan are now facing China, because our experts think, and rightly so, that China is threat number 1. Pakistan is not a conventional military threat to India. But Pakistan remains a threat. And nobody is taking Pakistan lightly. We're just saying that it is not an immediate conventional military threat. But Pakistan remains a terror threat, which we have seen and reiterated in our own minds for the past 3 days, that this is happening and this is what Pakistan is capable of doing. Killing of innocent people inside India, sending their people, or radicalizing a part of the population. I always like to give the example of Adil Ahmed Dar. Adil Ahmed Dar was the suicide bomber of Pulwama. You know, he had dozens of kilos of RDX. He strapped it onto his car and he rammed it into a CRPF convoy. 40 of our Braveheart brothers lost their lives that day. 40 of them. In retaliation, India launched the Balakot strikes. But hold on for a second. Hold on. Adil Ahmed Dar was a local. Who ingrained in his mind? Who tutored him? Who trained him? Who set him up on the path of this fake so-called jihad? He was radicalized from across Pakistan. They used the internet to radicalize people like Adil Ahmed Dar. Now, how many Adil Ahmed Dars are there? That's point number 1. Point number 2. During COVID times, recruitment for the army almost came to a standstill. Almost to a standstill. Because there was no movement. During COVID times, the entire nation was on lockdown. So new troops were not being taken. New recruitment was not being done. Everything had shut down. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what it is essentially. you need a few years to get the troop levels to the same level as pre-COVID. It will take time. It's not going to happen today. Because the troop influx required in the Indian Army is massive. It's not small, it's massive. Now on top of that, you have the China threat. And because of the China threat, you are forced to put more and more and more people along the line of actual control. Mirror deployment. Those many people here, those many people there. 1,000 guns this side. 500 helicopters, you have 500 helicopters there. It is a mirror deployment. Nut for nut, bolt for bolt. And that is what is happening on the line of actual control. Now, this is the overall broad scenario. What options do we have against a terror strike? And the terror strikes will happen in future also. This is not the last terror strike, just wait. And I'm talking about June 2024. I'm talking about this month, year 2024, you will see more strikes. And Pakistan will keep on doing it. And what is Pakistan's intent of doing it? One intent is, of course, India is not talking to Pakistan. And Pakistan wants to engage with India, but it wants to engage with India at terms that are beneficial to Pakistan. So Pakistan, in a way, is negotiating with India by shedding blood of innocents. That is one. Second, China tells Pakistan that we give you money, but you cause terrorism inside India. Why? Why would China do that? Simply because when there is pressure in Jammu and Kashmir, and it makes it to social media, it makes it to the national headlines of mainstream media, television channels, that 9 o'clock debate every single day, it causes great pressure on the government. And to relieve that pressure, what does the government do? It tells the army. Tells the army, okay, fine, pull out 10% of troops. I'm just giving 10% as an example. It could be 20%, it could be 1%. I don't know. I'm just throwing a random number in the air. All this is hypothetical. What you do is remove, quote unquote, 10% of the people from the line of actual control and put them back in the Kashmir Valley or south of Pir Panjal in the Jammu area. What will that do? It will stabilize the terrorism issue for a while. But that is band-aid. The situation is cancerous, but by putting troops, you will apply a band-aid. It requires chemotherapy. It does not require a band-aid. So you have lifted troops from the line of actual control, put them on the line of control, you have blocked terrorists absolutely, and you have done hinterland operations and killed many terrorists. Okay, terrorism stops. But then, along the line of actual control with China, there is a gap. That mirror deployment is broken. It's like playing chess. You expose your pieces, the other guy will get them. So let's give a context here. In the overall scenario, what do you think you should do? What do you think should be your next move? The next move should be to tell all the formations along the line of control, 750 odd kilometers, plus minus 100 kilometers here and there. Tell all formations responsible for the line of control or all smaller formations along the line of controls, the battalions, the companies, the message should be unequivocal. India says, and rightly so, that POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan are an integral part of India. They are an integral part of India, right? If we believe, and if our parliament believes, and if all Indians believe that Kashmir is an integral part of India, then what is the sanctity of the line of control? Please let me know if my question makes sense to you. What is the sanctity of the line of control? There is no sanctity. So tell the local formations, tell the local battalion commanders that you will no longer consider the line of control to be of any value. Cross at will. Cross at will. And I'm not just talking about hot pursuit. Hot pursuit is when somebody comes, does an action, tries to run back, and then you chase him. No chasing at all. You need kinetic action and you need to initiate that kinetic action. Just let the line of control be open. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, for 35 years, we have only seen people coming from one direction. That is from Pakistan into India or Pakistan occupied Kashmir into India. That is what we have seen for 35 years. It is time for the Pakistanis to see the Indian army entering Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Let us go inside. I'm telling you, let us go inside. And every time, every single time, the Pakistanis kill an innocent anywhere in India, and if that attack is traced back to the Pakistanis, whether the army, whether the ISI, or any other organization, civilian, religious, or military, or of any other kind inside Pakistan, if we trace it back, we should not punish that organization. Our enemy is not the Jaish-e-Mohammed, our enemy is not the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Our enemy is the Pakistan army, that is the head of the snake. Punish them. Bomb their posts. Just wipe out Pakistani army posts along the line of control. Just wipe them out. Bomb their battalion headquarters. Bomb Pakistani army's company locations, brigade headquarters, div headquarters, and continue this artillery assault. A full-on artillery assault. Just keep on bombing the living daylights out of them. Pakistan does not have the money to sustain a war with India. Forget about a war. Pakistan does not have the money to sustain a mobilization with India. Forget about wars. And this is exactly what General Qamar Javed Bajwa said to a close group of journalists. Amongst those journalists, one was Hamid Mir. And you know what General Qamar Javed Bajwa, the former Chief of Army Staff of the Pakistan Army, said? He said, we do not have enough fuel to run our tanks. We cannot afford a war with India because war costs money and we have no money. Friends, I keep on repeating this, and I've repeated it ad nauseum in the past. Intent and capability. Today, as far as harming India is concerned, Pakistan has the intent, but does not have the capability. So it will do these small little actions, but an action on a wider scale, Pakistan will avoid. Pakistan has the intent, but it does not have the capability. In India, it is the opposite story. We have the capability, but we don't have the intent. But like former Pakistani Army Chief General Ashfaq Parvez Kiani said, if you have the capability, intent can change overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm signing off by saying that I hope our intent changes overnight. Pakistan must get the punishment that it deserves. A massive artillery assault, a fire assault along the line of control, surgical strike, and maybe even our Air Force in action. And Pakistani ports, especially Bin Qasim, Karachi port, must be blockaded by the Indian Navy. That will teach the Pakistanis to behave themselves. Thank you for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, press the like button. I'll be back again tomorrow with another set of fresh news. Till then, Jai Hind.